Hi, Allie. I have an interesting topic for today. I want to talk about meaning and why we matter and stuff. And it kind of started because I started with this book, Paper Towns by John Green, in which Margot Roth Spiegelman, who you could argue is the main character of the story, even though the story is narrated by this guy, Quentin, or Q, you could argue that Margot is the main character of the story. And her whole goal in this is finding something that matters, something that's not a paper town with paper people burning the future to stay warm, which is a quote from the book. And then I started reading An Abundance of Katherines, and the main character, Colin, really wants to find some way that he'll matter. And he's creating this theorem because he's a child prodigy and he doesn't think that anything that he's done so far in his life has mattered. And before that, I read The Fault in Our Stars, where Hazel's trying to find something that matters in this life more than just her disease. She's dying of cancer, by the way. And then in Looking for Alaska, which is also a John Green book, Alaska is searching for something that matters, as is Pudge. He's looking for a great perhaps, something that's more than what he has. And it all leads me back to Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. Anyone who's watching this that isn't you, that has not read this book, needs to go to their nearest library or bookstore and pick this up, because I would argue that it is the best non-fiction book written by a mere human that I have ever come across. It is fantastic and I love it, and I think everybody needs to read this book. Mostly for the fact that it deals with these questions of meaning and how to find a meaning in suffering and how to find meaning in all sorts of things. And it was a great book. I thank my English teachers for making me read it because I love it. But it makes me think about my meaning and what I'm doing on this earth to kind of make things better for the next generation, and my motivations behind doing it. Because I kind of think that we all have this selfish ambition in us that's the drive for why we want to do something important. I think we all want to be important and remembered, but it's kind of a selfish thing. I mean, I think that's why you get a lot of people that are strung out on drugs and they just want to be famous, because I think they have this selfish desire to be famous and be read about in the papers and whatever. And that's why people go do the drugs and go do all that stuff. I think that's why they got caught up in it. I also think it's one of the motivations behind things like cutting and depression is because people who get involved with that don't know what their meaning is. But it's also the motivation behind some really awesome things like Convoy of Hope or like Decreasing World Suck, because I think people just want to do something important, and they can either do it really selfishly or very unselfishly, which even in the unselfishness is kind of selfish, because they kind of they want people to remember them, but they're just going about it in a more healthy way, if that makes sense. And so I'm just kind of thinking tonight about what I'm doing that's important to the world and what's being left behind as my legacy. And I hope that I'm leaving behind a good one. I'm not really sure. I mean, a lot of people say that I have a positive impact, but I don't know. So those are just my thoughts for tonight. I hope that you're having a great night, and I love you, and I will see you tomorrow.